Hey folks, it's Professor Cocazella here, and what I will be doing before we embark on every single unit for the semester is to give you a short audio so that you can listen and find out what's going to transpire and take place. It's essentially pretty much a review of all the materials that are in Blackboard, but with a little bit of additional commentary so that you know what we're going to get into and the various assignments and that sort of thing. So we are into Unit 1, and the name of the unit is titled Dimensions because that's what all the assignments really have to do with. And so we're on the front page learning module for Unit 1, and you can see from that I've just told you that this is really a good way to get our feet wet as we dive into the semester. In any class that I teach, I try to start out with writing that's a little bit more personal, and first person will be allowed, and you'll be able to share some of your own thoughts and experience and such. And then as we move further into the unit, into other units, and as we move further into the different units within the course, you'll find that the writing assignments will get much more academic, more objective. They'll have much more to do with research, with responding to writings and such. But this is a good way to start out. So there are excuse me. There are only two assignments in this unit. I'd forgotten. I dropped one. The initial assignment is called the Dimensions assignment, and this is going to be based on a PowerPoint that we'll be watching together as a class. And essentially what dimensions are, we're talking about your personal dimensions, and that word is a little bit fuzzy, but what we mean to say about dimensions is what are the areas, if you will, of your life that help you to define who you are, that contribute to what your personality is like, that contribute to what your values and belief systems are. So the dimensions are things like family, like culture, like peer relationships, like career aspirations, etc. So the PowerPoint discusses these in great detail. So we'll be watching the PowerPoint together as a class, and I'm going to give you a note-taking sheet so that you can jot down some of your thoughts as we watch the PowerPoint. Then after that, what you'll be doing is you'll be picking 3 dimensions. The PowerPoint discusses 8. So you'll be picking 3 dimensions, and you'll just create fuller, well-developed paragraphs about those particular areas of your life. And you will have, as you can see from this front page, and when we get into the contents of the unit, you will have an assignment sheet that goes into more detail about what's involved in 1.1. So that's 1.1. And 1.2 is just a further takeoff of that. In other words, once you write out those 3 paragraphs and submit them, then you're going to go back to square one, and you're going to pick one of the particular dimensions that means the most to you. It could be family, it could be culture, it could be career, etc. And what I want you to do for this 1.2 assignment is find a companion TED Talk that expounds or expands on that particular area that might contradict what you think or what your experience has been. In some way, it matches up with that dimension. And again, the particulars and the expanded explanation of these 2 assignments is in the packet. So let me click on the learning module, and you can see what's in here. So the first thing is the dimension PowerPoint, which, as I said, we'll be watching together as a class. And then here you go. This document right here are the assignments themselves in greater detail. And then I have a document here that's just essentially a worksheet that you can use while we're watching the PowerPoint. This will be helpful for you to just jot down and take notes. And the last thing in this unit is really more general in nature, and that is a PowerPoint that I made up about 102. What are the basic terms that we'll be using? What are the essential concepts that we'll be covering? That sort of thing. So I will just pick a date by which I would like you to watch that PowerPoint about argument. I just threw it into this first unit just because it's a beginning of the semester kind of thing that I think that you all should be familiar with some terms and such. Back out to the course contents, the learning module page, because I did want to also mention that you have reading to do, and you always will for each particular unit. So the reading for this particular unit is going to be chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. Now, I don't expect you to do all this reading in one fell swoop. I'll ask you to do, read chapter 1 by X date. I usually give you, usually 3 class periods in order to read a full chapter. So that's the story for Unit 1. It's kind of fun. I really enjoy it. I think you'll find the PowerPoint interesting. There's a little group project that we'll be doing after we watch that's part of the PowerPoint, as you'll see when you watch it, and that should generate some fun discussion and interesting thoughts. It's thought provoking. That's the best way to put it. So that's the story for Unit 1, and I will say goodbye, and we'll talk in class.